This morning at 8:30, which is right now, we have the PPI and the unemployment claims. We also have at 11 o'clock this morning on the euro, the ECB president is speaking. And I'm going to turn my phone off real quick, guys. And that's really about it. Tonight at 11:40, the Bank of Japan governor speaks. That's all I see for today, actually. And I'm going to see what the unemployment numbers were. Unemployment claims came in at 264K. PPI came in at negative 0.4. They were anticipating 0.1%. Okay, so actually unemployment came in really good, but the PPI actually came in lower than anticipated. All right, now I'm going to go and show you the scanner, because the scanner today I think is very substantial. Number one, you've got short divergence with an ADX of 80 and an RSI of 51 on the 180-minute chart. That is substantial, because that tells me that actually gold should actually go down today, because we'll get a magenta peak here, and then it will retrace back to the ATR, which right now is 116 ticks. Okay. What else stands out at you? Well, you have short divergence on the euro. It's at 70. The ADX, the RSI is at 35. The British pound is the one that really should stand out at you, because you've got short divergence, short, 65 on the 45, 74 on the 180, 79 on the 720, and look at the RSI, 50, above 50, above 50. That's substantial. Okay, that tells me that we could have a retracement on the British pound US dollar today. Does everybody understand that? Any questions on what I'm seeing on the radar screen? The volume is telling you what? Retracements. The ADX is telling you retracements. The RSI on two different time frames are above 50. That means retracement. Does everybody understand that so far? Can everyone still hear me? Are you just quiet this morning? All right. So, it just tells you when there's divergence on the RSI. So, for example, on the euro, you have a short divergence in volume, Dave. You have an ADX that's above 70, and you have divergence on the RSI. I don't use that. Okay. But, you know, some clients actually like to see when there's divergence on the RSI. Okay. So how could we take advantage when we know that there's potential retracements, but not risk a lot of money? Well, this is where you pull in the spreads, okay? Now, why would I choose spreads, okay? On the British pound, if we start getting these magenta peaks in on the higher time frames, that's 100, 200 pips to the downside, okay? So this is what I did. I went and looked at the spreads, okay, and said, okay, are there any spreads that I can get to capture that movement, okay? Both of these spreads, the total risk on these spreads was $150, okay, for 10 contracts. Understand? Now, the profit potential on the British pound dollar is 2,500 if it moves the entire width of the spread. I don't think it will, but if it does, then I would make $2,500. On the USD Swiss franc, if it moves the entire width of the spread, it would be 1,850. Again, I don't anticipate it moving the full width of the spread. But if it even moves down 100 points, then I am doing really good. Understand? And $150, really, that's cheaper than trading the futures. Do y'all get that or no? Now, I could have done it on gold because remember that gold had short divergence at 78, at 50, okay? That all of this together, when you combine it together, it means what? It means that market is overbought and will likely go down. The problem is I couldn't find a spread on gold that had a risk to reward that was skewed in my favor. Okay? That means that if I went in gold, I would be risking as much as if I made profit or loss. Okay? For example, I would be risking 200, profit potential was only 200. Okay? Not going to do that. You are going against the trend on these trades, okay? You're going against an uptrend. You're going, well, all of them, you're going against the uptrend on all of these, okay? So I want to make sure that my risk is really small. So, because I've got a potential here to lose, okay? But is $150 trading 10 contracts going to wipe me out? No, okay. And what is my profit potential? Anywhere from $150 up to $1,000, $2,000. Okay, that's pretty good. Do you see how logical that goes in my mind? Well, to me, it's logical. It doesn't mean it's logical for everybody, but for me, it's just basic math. Do y'all understand that? And I'm out until 3 p.m. Okay? So this movement, although we have the 8:30 market report that should generate anywhere between a 20 to 30 pip movement in these two currencies, I've got until 3 p.m. for this market to retrace. What did I have to do? I had to wait and get that small risk. Okay? And on the spreads, you don't have a weekly because if we had a weekly, I probably would have done it. Okay? And I'll show you why I would have done it. This short divergence on the 720-minute chart, the short divergence on the 1440, if they hold true, you know, it could take us through the rest of the week. But I don't have that option. Does everybody understand that? You could do a weekly binary as well, Dan. It could be half up, half down. It could be all up. It could be all down. It's the 15-minute report after the market moves. So if the market moves at 8:30, it would be the 8:30 to 8:45 bar. It would be an average of that. It's the low to the high or the high to the low, whichever one you want to say. Any questions about that? I do think we're going to get some downward movement in gold, and that is just based off of the scanner that I've already showed you. And I'll bring it up. Let me move over multi-charts for y'all to see. All right, so you broke through this ATR. When we break through an ATR, what do we anticipate? We anticipate it to come back and test the ATR. You have exactly the same scenario on the 720. Broke the ATR, we should come back and test the ATR for support. Just like we did here. Broke the ATR, came back to test to make sure that there was support there, right? So we have this one that says, okay, we should come back and test for support. We should come back and test for support. We have an ADX that is at 78, and the RSI on that is at 51, okay? So to me, these are saying down, down, down. All right. Now, do you see any downward movement over here on the 45-minute? What if you're trading the futures, okay? If you're trading the futures, you need to let it flip this ATR to red, go back and test that ATR before you get into it. Keith, you have to click on the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's 200 points. That's the one you have to do. If you just do the daily at 3 p.m., you only get one spread. If you do the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., then you get 3 spreads. Okay? Now, because I limit my risk on entry, okay, I do not have to wait for that criteria on the 45-minute. Do y'all understand that? If I wanted to go in early on the binaries, if I got a really low risk like I did on the British pound, on the USD Swiss franc, I could go ahead and go in. But remember, on gold, it closes at 130, okay? Do y'all understand that? So let's say that right now it comes down and it flips this ATR to red. Do you have enough bars available for it to go back, test the ATR, and then come down? That will be your question on gold. Not so much on the currencies because, I mean, they're out until 3 o'clock pretty much the entire day. Do y'all understand that? Now, the other thing, do you see this is the meter for the 45-minute? The euro is right at the point of being overbought. Swiss franc, right at the point of being overbought. The British pound, not so much. Okay? It is on the higher time frames, but on the 45-minute, it is not. Do y'all see that? Now, what I need to happen, I need for this dollar index right here, I need it to start heading upwards. Okay? In other words, I need the British pound and the Swiss franc to start heading downward towards the dollar. I need the dollar to start going up. If that happens, I am in really good shape on this spread. Do y'all understand that or no? All right, let's go back and let's look at the Dow. The Dow, you've got a double high-low combination here at 18,157. I would expect the Dow to at least get up to that area. On the NASDAQ right now, you are at a congestion zone. Okay, so it could very well come back and test this area. This is where your major resistance is, okay? So it's either going to have to blow through this or it's going to come down. On the ES, you've got the same double zones area, okay? So I would expect it to at least get up to here, but then I would really want to analyze that volume when it gets to these two levels up here. Does everybody understand that one? Do you see how these areas right here caught price overnight? That's why I tell you to watch out for those levels, okay? Because they will catch them. They caught them over here. They caught them over here. You can see this is the daily highs and low area here. It's a double zone area. Has not been able to penetrate that. Comes up, makes a congestion dot, comes back to test the ATR. These are patterns that we see over and over and over and over again, okay? And if we can spot these patterns, we can trade them. We can trade them with a low-risk method using the binaries or the spreads, or we could go in the futures. It's a matter of risk tolerance. I don't like to trade futures during a market report, because if you have it wrong, it is so painful, okay? I mean, it's just extremely painful. So I do the spreads or I do a binary option, okay? When you're just, wanting to trade futures, you can do that too. I mean, look, pulls back to the ATR, okay? You could set a stop right below that ATR, and that way, if you are wrong, it's not as painful, okay? And it, we had it entry here, 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 here on gold. Okay, over here you had one. That's not going to be as painful, okay? If you get in at 1183.9, you offset the stop. Let's say you go to up to 1185, okay? Your entry was right about 1183. So basically, you've risked, what, 12 ticks? That's not very painful on a 45-minute chart, guys. If you're new to trading the futures, that's not pain, okay? Pain is 40 ticks. That's pain. Per contract, that's pain, okay? That, what we consider low risk. See, over here you would have made money. Over here you would have lost money, okay? Everybody understand that? And I'm really simplifying this for y'all this morning. You know, over on the euro, you had an entry here. You also had, see this line of congestion dots? That's warning you that there is support for price to go up. Okay? You had an entry here. You had one here. You had one here. Look for the gray bars. Okay? You had one here. I wouldn't have mind taking that one. Okay? Because I still think you're close enough that you could have taken it. All right, go over to the British pound. Look, let's see if we can pull it out. There's your congestion zone. Here's another congestion zone if you missed this one or you missed this one. I like this one because it's very low risk. Okay? Again, here. Again, here. Again, here. Here. I mean, here. This one, 57.29. You could have said stop at 20 ticks. Okay? That's not painful on a 45-minute chart. I'm telling you, I know pain. I've had a lot of it. Swiss franc. Same. Do y'all see the same setups? They're no different. You're at a congestion dot. Okay, flip the ATR. Come back to test the ATR. This one, maybe a little bit too far. 0912, 09, yeah. Probably would not have taken that one. The Swiss franc not as volatile as the British pound. Okay, we're going to flip the ATR. We're going to come back and test the ATR. Now, this did not get close enough for me. That would have been a very large risk. I would have preferred this one instead. But, you know, would you really want to go into these congestion areas? How many times have you heard me say, no, there's not a sweet spot here? What have you got? You know, 1.5 points between your levels? 1.5 points. That's 6 ticks. Why am I going to trade for 6 ticks? It's not worth my time. There's your entry into the downtrend. It does not come all the way back to test this. I would not have taken it. No, risk is too high on that one. 18,095. No, not going into these lines. The only one that I probably would have done would be this one as a binary to the upside. Because do you see how this has all this resistance below it? Okay, so you could have said, okay, I think that this is going to support price because that's the way it looks, right? So it looks like it's going to support price. Is there an out-of-the-money binary that's cheap that I could get to the upside? That's the only way I would have traded that. On the NASDAQ, however, do you see how you made this beautiful line of congestion dots? It came down here and it tested down here. And then it goes up. Again, that would have been a binary out of the money. You've got, you know, at the ATR here, at the ATR here, at the ATR here, at the ATR here. Again, look for your gray price bars. The significance is the gray price bars tell you you're close enough. That is absolutely correct, Dan. those are the instances when you say, okay, I'm not willing to risk that much money on the futures, but hey, let's go check the binaries and see if we can get a cheap out of the money binary. Okay? There's no way I would be in the British pound or the USD Swiss franc this morning during two major market reports. There is absolutely no way I would do that. Okay? But I could do the same thing trading the binaries without having that risk tolerance on the futures. Do y'all understand that? My worst case scenario this morning is I have lost $300 trading not one contract, but 20 contracts on the spreads. Okay? Oh, yeah, definitely. I love the bullshit people. I think I understood your question as you're not reading the volume. I would still read the volume then. And there's sometimes, okay, and let's go back to, let's see, let's go back to the British pound, okay? Now, we're waiting on a magenta peak here, and I know that this should come down, and it should flip this ATR, and then it will go back to test the ATR. That would tell me, you know, I could take this trade. It's a Buddha trade, right? All right. Let's say that we're already at the top of this bar. I may get a better entry by going ahead and entering here. And this morning was a great scenario because if I wait for this to come down and then flip the ATR, I may only get to 57.73, okay? On the spread, that's going to give me a bigger risk. So now I'm measuring, okay, which one's going to give me the best risk to reward ratio. In this case, just go ahead and take the damn trade. Do you understand that, Dan? Or let's say, and y'all know, I mean, those of you that are always in the room know that when we start getting these high ADX values on the higher time frame, that is when I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it damn hard too, because usually that creates a big movement, okay? That's going to be our big trading day because it's going to go and it's going to go fast, okay? But I got to be in the trading room, and I don't trade my live account in the trading room because I'm not a CTA, and I don't want people following along with me because they don't know what they're doing unless they've been through my training, okay? I can go ahead and enter early and not worry about it. In other words, I'm not losing money because the market's moving and I'm in this room. I'm still making money. Yeah, the binary will be a better price because it's moving up and we know that it should come down. It's moving against the position that you're going in. Those are good binaries. While we're talking about binaries, I did change the binary option webinar, and I did it for a good reason. I set it for the Fed it's crude oil inventories and Fed announcement this day, and then the next day we have market reports too. And I want to show y'all how to trade crude oil inventories and Fed announcement, plus this other report on this day. I believe it's unemployment and something else the next day. So I did change the dates on that, but I think they're still okay with everybody. If you're an annual member, then they're actually included in your annual membership. And I really, really wanted to do one on Fed announcement day. I love Fed announcement days. So any questions on that? Now let's go see what the Dow is doing. We do have congestion over here. We have congestion over here. So I'm going to analyze this when it gets up here to the 18,227 area or the 18,156 area. I would just about bet we're going to get a magenta peak here when this hits that congestion dot. That would be my bet. All right, do you see how they're turning in my direction now, guys? That's what I want. That's exactly what I want to happen. And I want this to start going up because I'll be making money, guys. All right. Oh, I love trading. There's nothing greater in the world once you learn how to do it. It just takes a while. Okay, we bounced up from the ATR here from the congestion dot. We're going back to test this ATR right now. Not something I want to really trade right now. Oh yeah, money, money, money. And sometimes I lose it. No. It happens. That's all I'm going to say. It's happened. Let's see. Here we're in congestion on the NASDAQ. We're at the ATR over here. We're also at a congestion dot. I would anticipate a magenta peak over here. Let's go see the S&P 500. Well, they really, really are on the Forex side, Dave. And, you know, some days you have it where the indices move a lot. Some days you have it where the Forex moves a lot. Today, I think it's going to be one of those days that the Forex moves more than the indices. You know, and I'll tell you, when those when the Forex pairs are moving, they're good trades. They really are. And the Forex, it's 24 hours a day. Well, actually, 23. Yeah, that's right. You know, if I'm entering a market and I'm having to pay $150 of risk up front, okay, with a profit potential of $2,500, if it moves the full width, I'm not saying that it will, but if it does, if this is a blowout day and it moves the full width, that is one hell of a risk to reward ratio, okay? If it even moves half of that, it's an excellent risk to reward ratio. And if I lose $150, I can still sleep tonight. Because compared to the futures, $150 risk, 10 contracts, that's chump change. I have learned to read and use the scanner. The scanner is pretty awesome. I'll tell you that right now. Just wait for those days that things or stars are aligned with 4 time periods lined up in red and 150 a risk. That's a monthly cell phone bill. It's cheaper than my cell phone bill. It's a no-brainer, you know? Yeah, it's Clipper 1000. You know, when I bring down, and let me explain this, the Swiss franc future is the inverse of the USD Swiss franc. The reason is USD is the first 3 symbols here. Over here, the Swiss franc is the first. So this is an inverse. Do you see where we have this daily high and low? It's like 4 of them there, and I know it, okay? So, number one, you have it coming into a daily high or low. And that's evidence this one is below, this is above. Inverse relationship. Okay? Then if I pull down the scanner, it's saying, okay, this ADX is at 84. Really considered overbought. It needs to pull back. It needs to pull back on a 180-minute chart. It may pull back 91 ticks. It's pretty good. Do I always hold the spreads till expiration or set profit targets? I normally look at the charts and decide. I don't set profit targets per se on them. Either I'm going to let them expire or I'm going to see, for example, on the USD Swiss franc, let's say that it moves right up into here at 91.91. Okay? I'm going to read the volume and decide whether I want to stay with this or not. Okay? I think it will probably at least go to 91.72. Okay? The sweet spot being from this black line to this blue line. But it's going to have to overcome this ATR. And I know that. So I'm just going to read the volume there. That's just being a trader. Now, sometimes I cannot be at my computer. I have to go to the bank or go to the store. In that case, I just leave it open, depending on what I'm seeing at that moment. Does that answer your question, viewer 10? And, you know, a lot of information on the market reports calculating how much it will move in a given period, why trade a spread versus a binary, how to trade the actual market reports just in one direction. Most of that I'm doing in the webinar in June. Can't remember the dates. You'll actually learn how to use that market volatility report. There's so many different ways you can use that thing. It's pretty awesome. Gail has said many times 2 to 3 good days a week to trade. My toughest test learning has been to wait for confirmation. If you can master that, your learning curve will be cut in half. Let the market tell you what it's doing, not you talking yourself into what you want it to do. Amen. And you know, sometimes I still have trouble with that because I love counter trend trading anyway, but you know, actually listening to your charts. Your charts talk to you whether you know it or not. And if you just listen, a lot of times you'll make a lot more money. But what do? I mean, we come in and we want to trade. Day after day after day, we want to trade. I want to watch my charts. And then I trade when the charts tell me to. And I know some of you say, but you missed some movements. Yeah, I missed some losses too. It's a lot cheaper. You want to trade a sideways day? Do it in a simulator. Okay? Don't do it in your live account. Unless you want to be chopped liver. Because that's exactly what they do to you. An excellent place to start, really. Watch the market overviews I do on Sunday, okay? I'm now comfortable sitting and doing nothing for 2 to 3 hours. At first, I felt guilty. Now it has to be a good-looking setup to get my money to be at rest. Learn that. Yep, that's how I feel. But, not everybody sees it that way, Dave. You've got enough experience to know and to understand. You've felt the pain. Yeah, you could trade them on slow days. I like to trade them on trend days. And a lot of times when I work with traders, the more experience that they have, the more pain they have felt, the more they appreciate the tools and the methodology. It's the hardest thing in the world. Absolutely the hardest thing in the world. It's harder than learning volume. To sit there and not be in a trade. There's nothing harder. And, sometimes people think, well, you trade the London session, that's why you make money. Or you trade the Asia, that's why you make money. I trade all 3 sessions. There's not a session that I will not trade. If I know a setup is coming, you better believe I'm going to trade it. But it's going to be a good setup. And that's the difference. I don't come in here and say, okay, at 9:30 the market has to move because that's when I can trade. Okay? That's not what I do. The market is God and I'm just a follower. Okay? Yeah, it makes a trader instead of a gambler. I mean, I'll be watching TV at night and I still got it on. But my God, how many alerts have I put in this for y'all? How many alerts? You want it on your cell phone, okay? You got it on your cell phone. You want it audio, you got it on audio. Yeah, I'll be washing dishes, okay? Or putting them in the dishwasher. Actually, I don't wash very much. I'll be putting the dishes in the dishwasher. And I'll hear my computer. And it'll say, oh, British pound at the ATR. Oh, I'm going to go look. Everything stops because I got to go look. And then I'll say, oh, I don't like the volume, so I'll go back to loading the dishwasher. I am a trader, period. And I am at the market's disposal. The indicators tell me when to anticipate the movement. I just listen. That's all I do, listen. I don't ever know at what precise moment the market will move. But I do know that I will be there when it starts. That's the reason we programmed in all of these different options. What is the significance of price being at the ATR and flipping the ATR? Every entry I have comes off of either an ATR or a congestion dot. So it's very significant if price is at the ATR. If it flips the ATR, I don't go in on the flip of the ATR because that's the highest point of risk. Instead, I will wait and let it retest for support. Since I reloaded Ninja when doing lines and moving downward through time frames, some are disappearing and they are set to attach to all charts. What am I missing? Are you drawing the lines, Keith, or are you using the congestion zones? The congestion zone lines. Which one? That one I don't know why they would move if you're doing it manually. I don't do anything manually anymore. I just let the zones tell me. Is your volume analysis essentially reading the tape? Dave, do you want to answer that question? I'd like to get a client's perspective on that. And that's about as close to reading the tape as you're going to get. The pause bar as confirmation of divergence, is that a Wyckoff thing? No, that's a Gail thing. It's what sets apart divergences that I found anyway. Reading the tape with a lot less noise, true. As sometimes what appears to be happening is not what is really happening. It's very true. And you know, I don't get into a lot of discussions about hidden buyers and hidden sellers because it kind of puts you in a paranoid state of mind at first. So I don't get into that, okay? What I get into is, hey, buyers stepped in on this bar or sellers really stepped in on this bar. The trend divergence, yeah, and you had some major trend divergence. I believe it was on the USD Swiss franc. Hold on, I'll show it to you. You wouldn't have seen it if you didn't open up your chart. Let's see. Was it this one I saw it on? All right, hold on. Let me load the volume on this because you've got major trend divergence. I believe it was on the Swiss franc that I saw it on. Yep. From here to here, you had new lows, and the volume was increasing to the downside. From here to here, major trend divergence, and that's already confirmed. That's how I knew more likely than not they will go up. Yeah, we should have videotaped that one, Dave, because that was a good seminar. But you know, almost every seminar I do, we have that. It takes a while to learn, but when you grasp it, it is amazing what these indicators are showing you. It is not a day trader scalper, but more position if you use higher time frames or use lower time frames if you need to trade more. Absolutely. You know, most people, they want to be a scalper, but they don't have the mentality. I have to be in a certain mindset to actually scalp. And now that I'm trading binaries, I don't really like it that much. Why am I going to put myself under that kind of pressure when I can make more money on a binary? Duh, that's a no-brainer. You know, the older I get, the less aggressive I get. And maybe that's why. But, you know, it does take a while to really appreciate everything that I've actually put into these indicators. You know, first glance, you're not going to understand it. First glance, you're not going to appreciate it. The ones that appreciate it are the ones that have traded for a longer period of time. They've actually seen other stuff that's out there. They actually were dedicated to learning the indicators and the methodology. Okay? And if you don't have those three components, you're probably not going to make it. Sorry, but that's truth. The rest of us are falling apart. But we do get smarter. Well, thank you, Keith. I think they are. The USD Swiss franc. There it is. NASDAQ chart is not current. I know. I was showing them something. Just a higher time frame ATR, when it flips, it is usually a trend changer. I've seen it in the grains of multiple contracts. I am still learning, and I have sent her probably 20 charts already since last Saturday seminar asking, is this right reading? That's very true, David. You have. Everybody just about from last Saturday's webinar has sent me charts to see if they're reading the volume right. You know, there's, I think, 2 emails that I haven't returned yet. And I need to go through it a little bit more to make sure he's reading it right. Can I analyze crude? Yeah. We went up to the congestion dot. Now we're coming back down to the ATR, which we did. Now it should probably go back up here on that one time frame, but it seems like the higher time frames. You should get to 60.68, but you do have an ATR at 61.16, so you need to be careful on crude. I did that when it was coming, I think it was on this bar. It was heading down towards the ATR. But not only do you have an ATR there, you have a double zone area which represents highs and lows, okay? So you've got 3 areas that will support it, but will it be able to clear this area? Actually, it should pretty much get up here to this line, right at about 61 to this black line at 61.09. I'm not really interested in trading it right now. What about 61? You have an ATR at 61.12. It's not, this is not one that I would want to trade. For me, this is a small movement. All right, guys, are there any other questions this morning? Because I'm going to close the room so I can actually be there for the market opening. Remember, we will not have any sessions next week. I'm going to see my son graduate. So my mind will not be on trading. I will look at the markets, but probably will not trade. Oh, yes, I'm definitely going to enjoy it. It's been a long time coming. It seems like forever. So it's only been 3 months, but it seems like forever. All right, everybody have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, email me. Remember, I did reschedule the binary webinar so that we'll get Fed announcement day and a couple of really good market reports for training. So, well, thank you, Artemin. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. If you have any questions, you can email me. Otherwise, I'll see you Saturday if you are an annual member. Okay? I believe it's 10 o'clock. I actually put it on the website under the annual members, Dan, but it seems like it's 10 o'clock. All right, so everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Saturday if you're an annual member, okay? Bye-bye.